might have saved a copy of that. Then we've got the wrong man in charge of the estate. That's where the first problem starts. There's a bunch of funny little things, like all this videotape. There doesn't seem to be any discussion of when it's going to appear, when it's going to come into this trial. There was discussion about cleaning up the bedroom scene and what did the security guard see. There's just a whole lot of questions that didn't get asked. Just a lot of questions that, to me, should have been asked. I should have asked Michael Amir Williams. They should have asked him, do you remember the sheriff investigator's name? Did he give you a receipt for the videotape? Did you list 2 tapes given, 3 tapes, 4 tapes, or chips, or whatever they were recording it on? Was there a receipt given for this? Or did you just let the cops take it and make it disappear? There's a lot of questions that had I been in there asking questions, I would have asked. And the other question that comes to mind is, we have the 9/11 tapes from the hotel in Washington, D.C. that showed, allegedly showed something crashing into the Pentagon. Well, the FBI confiscated those a decade ago, and they've never been released. Why not? This is in a motel like a mile away that had a video camera recording. The government confiscates tapes, and you never see or hear them again. There's something wrong with that process. And it makes me suggest that if you have something of interest to the government, you best make a copy, a digital copy of it, and then let them have the original. But at least you've got a digital copy, so if it disappears, there's something to fall back on. There was another person of interest, which was a driver for Pt2, and nobody's mentioned him at all. Not at all. In the trial. However, there is a fan that was here most of yesterday and most of today that claims on the day Michael died, they saw that person who was a driver for Pt2 near 100 Carrollwood. So he wasn't with Pt2, who was already at the hospital. I think we're going to hear testimony down the road that instead of being calm, cool, and collected, Dr. Conrad Murray left his car behind and just went running down the street. Came back much later, I guess, for his car. This doesn't seem like a doctor that's in control of his faculties. It's like he's in shock. Now, among the fans, there is a hardcore group of Michael Jackson fans right here, even though it's a small group, 5 or 6 of them, that are saying, forget about all the conspiracy, forget about anything. Conrad Murray went in there and he murdered Michael. He, whatever he did, he killed Michael. That's it. Put Conrad Murray in jail. End of story. Well, we'll see what the evidence brings forth. It clearly looks to me like at least second-degree murder. But if he went in with an intent to kill him, which I doubt, personally I doubt, I mean, it would just be one of the dumbest things to do, to go in with an intent to kill the king of pop rock. So there's that group. Then there's a group that believe Michael is pulling a hoax, and it's going to be the greatest hoax of ever. And that's why they're charging Conrad Murray such the least charge they can give him criminally. Because, in fact, they believe Michael is hiding and he's alive, and he's hiding because he knows there were people constantly trying to get him in trouble, constantly trying to kill him. So he pulled his hoax and went into hiding. And that would explain a lot of things, except coroners generally do not fake evidence and say this is one person when they know it's somebody else. Possible, but not likely. Then there's a third group of Michael Jackson fans, and you may have seen Miss Sharon Sidney on CNN, and today she went KABC local in Los Angeles a woman named Kelly, went right to the lunch table where Sharon City was sitting, talked to her and said, well, I'd like to get you on camera right now. And Sharon went and did the interview because she wanted to keep telling people Michael's been kidnapped. They got him under propofol. This is her theory. They got him under propofol. He's drowsy. Then they kidnapped him away. And the body that you saw in that, only one picture was ever taken of that body claiming to be Michael in the ambulance, wasn't Michael at all. It was, they say, it was something else. A model of Michael, someone made up to look like Michael, and Michael has plenty of lookalikes. And that the lookalike was switched off when they got to the hospital, and some dead person was gone in, and then they said that dead person. None of this makes sense to me, because Catherine would know her own son, and she's a very devout religious woman. You might say some of his brothers might have been in on the hoax, and they would be willing to do a hoax, but Catherine is a very deeply committed Jehovah's Witness, and I just don't see Catherine saying, yeah, that's my son in the casket there, when she knew it wasn't, if that was the case. So that's what I got. Let's see if anybody else has got any questions for me. I didn't actually hear the voice of Michael. My laptop was not putting out the audio at that point, so I didn't hear it. But every witness I talked to said it was just most gut-wrenching, incredible thing to hear Michael in that tone of voice to speak. And some even question if it was Michael's voice. About the photo, I didn't see it up close, and without actually putting my hands on it, I don't know what to think of that photo. There was also a photo of the bed and the scene, but there was a lot of testimony that Conrad Murray went back to clean it up, and supposedly to make some cream disappear. So that's what I think about the voice. I'll have to actually pull it up online and listen to that voice. And I hope I get a good rendering online. But I didn't hear it. I just talked to a lot of people that did. And Sandy Scott, for one, whose sunflowers for Michael. A lot of you send Sandy to put fresh flowers on Michael's grave. She was taken aback. I mean, she was visibly shaken to have heard Michael sound that way. And so was another person that heard that. Okay, it's Jason. Yeah, he gave the assistant, Michael Amir Williams, gave the tapes from MJ's house to the cops. That's what his testimony was. And they asked him how much tape, and he was kind of nebulous on how much. We weren't sure. So, and there's people here that believe the autopsy report has already been doctored, that the original autopsy report is not the one you're going to see online, and is not the one you're going to see in the court. The real question of why are the tapes missing? Missing tapes, and that's why I brought up the 9/11 missing tapes. This seems to be a pandemic problem with police. They get their hands on a piece of evidence, and then it goes missing. I remember the Meropolis case that happened out in eastern LA County, where 2 little children were killed by a sheriff's deputy, and the family finally brought a civil suit because they wouldn't bring criminal charges against their own sheriff's deputy. He was a senior deputy. And the story was he had a girlfriend that was harassing his family, and the girlfriend didn't like the family. So basically he went in and set fire. And the one teenager of that Meropolis family that saw the deputy sheriff actually put his Bic lighter and set the fire right through the living room, where they'd all fallen asleep from playing video games all night. That one that actually saw him set the fire, the other saw him outside the door, like 2 feet outside the back door. But the one that actually saw him set the fire, he got a bullet in the head from a black and white that then peeled off at a gas station. And the videotape of that has also been missing for 10 years. Cops came. I talked to the gas station manager. This is in eastern LA County. This happened 10 years ago. And that tape has never been returned. It didn't show up at the federal courthouse in Judge Hunter Jr.'s courtroom. And then the defense or the plaintiff's attorney for the Meropoulos family in that case, he said to the judge, "We're going to waive playing the last recording of the dead 19-year-old teenager where he's saying, 'I saw Deputy Sheriff so-and-so with his Bic lighter or a match or something setting the flame. I saw him.' The others saw him outside the door, but they didn't see him." So in that case, Federal Judge Hunter Jr. in downtown LA Federal Court, he dismissed the cases on, I think, Rule 50, Federal Rule 50. Nobody actually saw him do the crime. He was just standing outside the door, smiling and watching the house burn. And then the fire department shows up. I mean, he was there before the fire department. So when they waived that audio tape of the kid that had been killed, I knew that family had been sold out by their own attorney. And I see this all the time in courtrooms all over. Their own attorney, you hire a guy and then he sells you out. He takes your money first, and then he throws you under the bus. And I see this happening in this case. And that's why I'm making reference. I've seen many of these cases. I just gave you one, but I know of many, many others. And it appears to me if these tapes don't show up in this trial, and I mean all the tapes, apparently they had tapes inside the house at different entryways and even in the hallway in the bedroom. And if those tapes just disappear, it's going to be hard to prove anything specifically. So that's what I observed today. Probably only going to be there tomorrow morning. I have to get back to 150 miles north of LA where I do my live show.